Happy Monday. It's March the 29th, 2021. Who's happy about Monday? We had a great show for you today. We have Brittnie Granville, Miss Black Alabama, will be joining us this morning, the reigning 2021 Miss Black Alabama USA. She might be preparing for a shot at the national title, but she's still balancing duties with being a single mom, a philanthropist, an author, an autism advocate, business strategist, and generational wealth builder. We're going to talk to Brittnie this morning. But first, the news this morning. And before we get to the news, of course, let's bring on our president and CEO of the National Newspaper Publishers Association, the Black Press of America, Dr. Ben Chavis. Good morning, Dr. Chavis.
Good morning, Stacey, and welcome to all of our viewers. On behalf of the Black Press of America, we're ready to get going with Let It Be Known.
Absolutely. Dr. Chavis, the child population in America is the most diverse in history, but children remain the poorest age group in the country, with youth of color suffering the highest poverty rates. The comprehensive 2021 State of America's Children was released to the Black press exclusively by the Children's Defense Fund. It highlights how children remain the poorest age group in America, with children of color and young children suffering the highest poverty rates. For instance, of the more than 10.5 million poverty-stricken children in America, approximately 71% are children of color. The stunning expose revealed that income and wealth inequality are growing and harming children in low-income Black and brown families, while the share of all wealth held by the top 1% of Americans grew from 30 to 37%. The share held by the bottom 90% fell from 33 to 23% between 1989 and 2019. And today, a member of the top 10% of income earners makes about 39 times as much as the average earner in the bottom 90%. Dr. Chavis, it's a comprehensive report. It's a stunning report.
It is a stunning report, and we invite all of our viewers to go to blackpressusa.com. If you're a member of the NNPA family of publishers, you can go to the NNPA Newswire to get the full length story about the report. And we thank the Children's Defense Fund for breaking this important news, this important report with the Black press first. We thank all of our national organizations, but particularly the Children's Defense Fund.
Yeah, absolutely. And as Dr. Chavis mentioned, you can read more at blackpressusa.com. Opening statements in the Derek Chauvin murder trial, the officer who kneeled on George Floyd's neck for several minutes and caused his death. It begins today in Minneapolis. Judge Peter Cahill set the date for all jurors, all 15 of them, 12 primary and 3 alternates, for this morning. Court TV plans to televise the trial, which most expect will last for about 1 month. The former officer faces second-degree unintentional murder, second-degree manslaughter, and third-degree murder. The latter charge was reinstated during jury selection when a high court ruled that Judge Cahill mistakenly dismissed that charge last year. And despite an earlier reported plea agreement in which he would have served as much as 12 years in prison, Derek Chauvin formally entered not guilty pleas. The 45-year-old is being tried separately from the other officers or former officers involved in George Floyd's death on May 25th of 2020. So Dr. Chavis, it's a big day out in Minneapolis. We have 2 great papers out there, Insight News and The Spokesman Recorder, that will be covering this trial from wall to wall.
Absolutely. And we thank our member publishers in Minneapolis for being there at the court today. They're going to be reporting on a daily basis, and we will be relaying that information to our publishers across the country. This is why you need the Black press. You can't rely on the mainstream press. They report the news, but they don't report the news from a Black perspective. And that's why the Black press is so important. Give a shout out to our chair, Karen Carter Richards, and to all the members of the NNPA Board of Directors.
Yeah, it's a great point you made too, Dr. Chavis, obviously about the Black press, because one of the things that Benjamin Crump, the famed attorney who's representing the Floyd family, said the mainstream media is making this to be the George Floyd trial. It is not the George Floyd trial. George Floyd is not on trial. Derek Chauvin, the officer who is responsible for his death, is on trial. So it's a great point, and we will be following that throughout.
Right. I would say this officer is on trial, but I would also say that America is on trial. Racial justice is on trial. Equal justice is on trial. Police brutality is on trial. White supremacy is on trial. And so that's why this trial of this police officer who murdered George Floyd is so important, not only to the residents of Minneapolis and the state of Minnesota, but to everyone in the United States of America. In fact, the whole world is watching today.
Yeah. And Dr. Chavis, you always say elections have consequences. Well, actions by lawmakers could have consequences, substantial consequences in Georgia. The Atlanta Braves, the baseball team, have plans to operate its 41,000 seat stadium at 100% capacity by June, and the team estimates that more than 100,000 people will attend events as part of Major League Baseball's All-Star Game, which the Braves are scheduled to host in July. But Georgia lawmakers' restrictive and oppressive new voter laws may cost the team and the city as much as $200 million to the local economy, because Major League Baseball's Players Association says they plan to meet with its members and decide whether to force the game to another location. Dave Roberts of the Los Angeles Dodgers, who is scheduled to manage the game for the National League, said he's considering skipping the event in protest of the new Georgia law that makes it more difficult to vote, particularly for African Americans. And New York Yankees superstar Giancarlo Stanton told the New York Post that he's on board with Tony Clark and any discussions to move the All-Star game. Of course, we remember Giancarlo Stanton was one of the first in Major League Baseball to take a stand when George Floyd was murdered last year. So Dr.
Absolutely, it's very important for Major League. Absolutely, it's very important for Major League Baseball to take the appropriate action. NFL to take the appropriate action, the NBA to take the appropriate action. All professional sports need to have another look, because what is happening in Georgia is wrong. And so we have to, the public at large, people across the country, we don't want to punish the people of Georgia because they've done so well in getting these two new senators, but we do want to sanction government and the state legislature of Georgia in many creative ways as we can, to let them know that the public at large, that Black America is not going to tolerate these voter suppression tactics that they're trying to make law. And that is why on a federal level, it's so important to pass, the John Lewis Reauthorization Voter Rights Act as soon as possible. And there's another bill also, I think it's Senate Bill 1, which also talks about voting rights. So all these things are so important to get done legislatively to counter the voter repression in the state of Georgia.
Yeah, absolutely. And the president said he is looking at ways in which he can stop such oppressive laws. Also in the news this morning, Beyonce took home 4 trophies. Eddie Murphy received the Hall of Fame award, and Viola Davis and the late Chadwick Boseman earned Outstanding Actress and Actor in a Motion Picture during the primetime telecast of the 52nd NAACP Image Awards. Reverend Dr. James Lawson was honored with the Chairman's Award. NBA superstar LeBron James received the President's Award, and Stacey Abrams earned the NAACP's Social Justice Impact Honor. DJ D Nice captured the Entertainer of the Year award for his immensely popular club Quarantine that began last year during the pandemic. Simone Boseman, the widow of Chadwick, provided the tearjerker moment of the night. She accepted the award for her late husband, and she said he would thank his mom and dad, and he would give honor to his ancestors as we now honor him. She went on to urge Black people over the age of 45 to get screened for colon cancer. She says, don't put it off any longer. Please get screened. This disease is beatable if you catch it in its early stages, so you don't have any time to waste, even if you don't have any family history. If you think nothing is wrong and you are younger than 45, please be proactive about your health. Know the signs, know your body, Listen to Your Body. That was Simone Bozeman, the widow of Chadwick Boseman, at the NAACP Image Awards on Saturday night. So big night.
Absolutely. And we congratulate the NAACP on the 52nd Image Awards. It was an outstanding broadcast. It was a very inspiring production. And the NAACP, I encourage everyone to, if you haven't joined the NAACP, you should join the NAACP. It is our still leading, largest, oldest, and premier civil rights organization.
So, Dr. Chavis, what happens when brains and beauty collide? Well, we get Brittnie Granville, the 2021 Miss Black Alabama, is joining us now. Good morning, Brittnie.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Brittnie. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, Brittnie, there is a lot that we could talk about this morning, but I want to start off with a special book that's coming out that your daughter, your young daughter did. Can you, two things. One, show us the book and tell us about it.
This is her book called Braylon Goes to Paris, France. It's the first book in her book series, Adventures of the Awesome Kid. And it is based on a vacation that we went on in 2019 to Paris. She has autism, so she loves to make up stories and has this big imagination. So we decided to track our trip and the things that we done. And she started telling her story, and I started taking notes on it. And she picked out her own costume to wear as the superhero and everything. She also has a adventure book that goes along with the storybook where kids can do activities and test their knowledge on what they read in the book, as well as a coloring book that features other countries to research and learn about.
Wow. And tell us a little bit about, now you're a single mother, and I understand that your daughter went through more than 15 medical specialists, and she still obviously faces various challenges. Tell us about that struggle and how you're able to really, I won't say overcome it, because it's a struggle that I'm sure continues, but how you're able to really deal with that.
Well, it started early on for us. She started kind of acting different at about 15 or 18 months. And she was also academically smart at that time. However, she was socially behind. And I had her tested once with one center, and they diagnosed her with intellectual disability, which back in the day they used to call retardation. And I just knew that wasn't the appropriate diagnosis. So I had her retested, and they diagnosed her with autism, which is more centered around her behavior socially. With autism, she was also diagnosed with language disorder, sleep onset association disorder, chronic asthma, epilepsy, and amount of other things. So we were bouncing from specialist to specialist for treatment, sleep studies, all this testing. And then I started changing her diet and working from the inside out. And we started seeing changes at around 4 years old, which is when she actually started talking and potty training and started really making great progress with becoming more independent.
Yeah. And where can people get the book from?
Amazon. You can get her book from Amazon if you just put in Braylon Camille, BraILYNN, Camille, CAMILLE. All of her books will pop up. She's also have a Facebook page, Adventures of the Awesome Kid, awesome spelled AUSOME. And then you can follow her on Instagram, the same, The Awesome Kid. Wow. And we also started a nonprofit organization called The Awesome Kid Inc. to support and empower children with autism and to provide resources to impacted families, as well as educating our community on autism acceptance and awareness, especially in Black kids.
Yeah, that is, as you say, awesome. And Brittnie, you are the reigning Miss Black Alabama USA. Tell us about why you entered that pageant.
I decided to enter the pageant because one, to be a role model for my daughter, because there are a lot of things people try to tell her she cannot do, and I'm just here to show her that you can do anything. If you want to be a superhero, that's fine. If you want to be a princess, it's possible as well. I also did it to outreach more of my community and try to promote this platform of autism, and kids who are misdiagnosed as bad or misbehaving. And I also did it to be a role model for single moms as well. Just because you're a single mom doesn't mean that your life is over, doesn't mean the fun stops, or doesn't mean your goals die. You keep going, you keep living, and you show your kids you can do anything, no matter if you're a single mom or not.
Yeah, absolutely. And Brittnie, I know that when people think of these pageants, they think, okay, well, there's not much to it, but there's a lot of work that goes into these pageants, I'm sure, and a lot of work in preparing to become a beauty queen. Can you tell us a little bit about that journey?
It's a lot of positivity that comes out of it, like staying healthy. During the quarantine, we kind of got off track with our eating habits. However, we were whipped back into shape and working out more outside, eating healthier. It also helps with posture, with walking up straight, not slouching, staying put together, public speaking. There are so many things you can get out of preparing for a pageant, especially with how you present yourself to an audience and how you present yourself in an interview, if you're interviewing for a job.
Wow. Dr. Chavis, I'm going to throw it over to you.
Well, thank you, Brittnie Granville. This is still Women's History Month, and you're an outstanding example of a mother, leader, and you come from the great state of Alabama. You know, early in the program, we were talking about the importance of voting rights, and certainly we know, I've been to Alabama many times, particularly in Selma. Can you comment as a pageant winner, the importance of African-American women as well men and whole families standing up for voting rights?
I think it's very important that your voice is heard, especially with our upcoming generation. We've seen, as a millennial, I've seen my parents, my grandparents fight for voting or fight to be heard. And so we are growing up following the same footsteps. Don't let them put a shield over your mouth. You deserve to be heard. You have rights just like everyone else. And I'm showing the next generation, as well as my daughter, I take her to the polls with me. And I'm like, this is how you vote. This is vote. You have a right to vote. You have to get out, no matter if it's you don't have any food. You have some, switch out if you have to. You make a way. Do not let them shut you down. It's just another obstacle to get over.
Wow. Yeah, absolutely.
Very good.
Go ahead, Dr. Chavis.
I was also going to ask Brittnie, you know, autism in Black America, and I think that not only encourage great perseverance, but you're showing what success looks like. You know, your daughter is blessed to have a mother like you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, and Brittnie, also we as we talk about the pageant now, what is the task once you win, and obviously you've won, now what's your responsibility as Miss Black Alabama?
My responsibility now is to support my community, Alabama as a whole state. Since I will be representing our state, I'm reaching out, doing things for the community. I've done book drives for our school. I've made appearances. I'm bringing one of the Harlem Globetrotters out with me to some of the schools. as well as just being an example for my state. I will be competing for the national title of Miss Black USA coming in August. So I'm really just trying to do community outreach is what my passion is, as well as I take my daughter as well to show her this is what you do for the community, so she will grow up doing the same.
Yeah, and I want to apologize, Dr. Chavis. I think we've been having some issues with your connection this morning, and that's a rarity. Dr. Chavis usually has the best connection of everybody. But Brittnie, I know that you're a great inspiration to your daughter, but who inspired you?
The person that inspired me is my grandma. My grandma, actually, she just left yesterday, but my grandma inspired me because I was raised by my grandma. And along with, she has been to every doctor's appointment, she has taken me to doctor's appointment and turned around and helped me take my daughter to doctor's appointments, and has always been there from the beginning. She raised me. She made a lot of sacrifices for me to do dance and pageants, and was there at every practice, pushing me and supporting me. If I did not have my grandmother's support, I would have never been able to get this far. She really guided me and directed me on the right path, and she is a praying woman. And so I'm very, very blessed to have her, and she's a hardworking woman. And so we have always been stuck like glue. And I have really been absolutely blessed to have her in my life with all of her help and joy and blessings that she pours, from God to me.
Wow, that's amazing. And Brittnie, I also understand that you are an AKA. Tell us about your schooling. I understand you went to the University of Alabama, Huntsville, and you received a master's from Columbia Southern University. Talk about your school career.
So I actually started college around 10th grade. I was in the program dual enrollment. So I was able to go to high school in the day and college at night. And so I started, my first college I went to was UNA at night when I was in 10th grade. And then I later went to Northwest Shoals while I was in the 11th and 12th grade. So by the time I actually got to UAH, I was a sophomore. So I was able to become a member of Alpha Sorority Incorporated my first year of college, but my sophomore year. And it was a great process. It was great networking, great opportunities, great women that I was able to network with and to become sisters with. And then I got my bachelor's from UAH in 2011. And then that's when I had my baby in 2011. Actually, the same day I graduated. I was in the hospital, so I didn't get to make my graduation. But that's okay. They sent me there. Yeah. So after that, I got employed by the federal government. And then I decided to get my master's from Columbia Southern in business administration. And then I decided to get my certifications in women's entrepreneurship from Cornell University, and then entrepreneurial essentials from Harvard Business Online.
Wow. And also understand that you're a member of the National Coalition of 100 Black Women and the Black Girl Social Club. You are a busy, busy woman.
Yes, sir. That's in my community.
Well, that's the spirit. And Dr. Chavis has rejoined us. Dr. Chavis, I'm going to toss it over to you.
Yes, I can. Brittnie, for your leadership, you're an outstanding example of striving for excellence, and not only striving for, but reaching excellence and manifesting excellence. We wish you all the best. career best for your daughter and to all of us, and share it with all of us.
Yeah, and Brittnie, show us the book one more time, and tell everyone where they can get it again.
You can get this book on Amazon, pre-order on Amazon. It actually has a little picture of her in Paris.
Nice.
So she was excited. So Adventures of the Awesome Kid, Braylon Goes to Paris, France by Braylon Camille on Amazon for pre-order. Release date April 6th.
See, there you go. That's what we do. We lift them up, right? And she deserves it. This is obviously a very special child who has a lot of talent there, and we love to see it, especially with the young ones. And Brittnie, you're a great example for young single mothers. You seem that to have it all together, and we really salute you for that. Dr. Chavis, I'm going to attempt to give you the last word again.
Well, thank you. Again, this is Women's History Month. As we wind up Women's History Month, this is a great story from Alabama with Brittnie Granville. We say to all of our viewers that the Black press lifts up all of those stories like Brittnie Granville's story, not only as a beauty queen, but as a mother queen, as an activist queen. And we salute her for all of her accomplishments. And we know that there's still the best is yet to come.
Yeah. Michelle Madison, one of our viewers this morning, Brittnie Granville, says that I will get the books for my grandchildren.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you.
Well, we thank you. And as Dr. Chavis said, Women's History Month is a great way to close out Women's History Month. We still got a couple of days left, but Brittnie Granville, it's been a privilege to have you on this morning, and all the success, continued success going forward. Our Women's History Month shout out this morning goes to Dr. Kizzmekia Corbett. When Dr. Anthony Fauci was asked in December to talk about the input of African American scientists in the vaccine process, he did not hesitate when he gave his answer. He said the vaccine was actually developed by a team of scientists led in part by his close colleague, Dr. Kizzmekia Corbett, an African-American scientist who is right at the forefront of the development of the vaccine. Dr. Corbett is an expert on the front lines of the global race for the COVID vaccine, and someone who will go down in history as one of the key players in developing the science that could ultimately end this pandemic. Dr. Corbett is one of the National Institutes of Health's leading scientists behind the vaccine. She worked with Moderna, the pharmaceutical company that developed one of the two vaccines for the coronavirus. It has also brought hope in ending this devastating pandemic. Even before Dr. Corbett took on one of the most challenging tasks of her professional career, she was a force to be reckoned with. As a student, she was selected to participate in Project SEED, SEED, a program for gifted minority students that allowed her to study chemistry in the labs at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, and eventually landed a full ride to the University of Maryland, Baltimore County. Dr. Corbett spent her years at laboratories and earned a summer internship at the NIH, the very place where she would be instrumental in developing the vaccine for the coronavirus. We take our hats off to Dr. Kizzmekia Corbett. Let it be known, all great achievements require time. We will see you tomorrow.